Hi there, my name is Matti Sulanto. I'm a photographer based in Helsinki, Finland. And in this video, I'm going to tell you my first impressions on the brand new Panasonic Lumix S1 and S1R cameras, as well as the 3 lenses. If you are new here, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing to my channel and also tap the bell so you won't miss any of my future videos. I'll publish a new video every Tuesday. And yes, I know today is not Tuesday, but this is a special occasion. I was lucky enough to join with some 180 other journalists, bloggers and vloggers in Barcelona 2 days ago when Panasonic finally launched the new S1 and S1R cameras along with the 3 lenses. We had a chance to try the cameras, but we were not allowed to publish any full-size photos because the cameras were pre-production samples. The firmware version of the cameras were 0.7. Because of that, and because we only had about 3 hours with the cameras, I was mainly trying to concentrate on using the camera like I normally use the camera. I was trying to figure out the ergonomics and the usability of the camera. I hope I'll soon get a proper full production review sample so I can get back to this in more detail. Panasonic is clearly aiming at professionals with these new cameras. And I think they fit well into Panasonic's product portfolio. They already have a very good small camera system, so this new S-series is not even trying to be small or compact. The S1 and S1R are for those photographers who need or want a full frame system with high reliability, good ergonomics and good weather sealing. When Panasonic's representatives spoke about the camera, the words that they mentioned over and over again were reliability, weather sealing, ergonomics, professional, so that's obviously very important for them and in their marketing right now. When you first pick up the S1 series camera, you can feel the quality of the product, partly because of the generous size and weight, but also the construction of the camera body and all the controls, all the buttons and levers and knobs. They feel like they can take some serious punishment on your photo assignment wherever that happens. It really feels in a good way like a traditional professional grade camera. I also think it's going to be one of the few cameras that you can comfortably handle with gloves in a cold climate. And Panasonic promises top grade weather sealing too. The size is chunky for sure, and nobody can say that this camera is too small or too light. I think some are going to whine about it being too large and too heavy. But then you can never satisfy everybody with the same product. However, during the 3-hour photo walk we had, I felt comfortable carrying the camera and the attached 24 to 105mm zoom lens. But sure, if you are looking for a compact camera, this is not it. The 5.76 million dot viewfinder is absolutely gorgeous, especially when you turn on the optional 120 frames per second refresh rate. But there is a caveat. In that mode it uses more battery. There are lots of pixels to refresh and that takes some processing power. Even the normal or the lower 60 frames per second rate looks really good. You can select the viewfinder magnification between 0.78, 0.74 and 0.7, and I found the latter just perfect. I could see the whole viewfinder image wearing specs, and that's very important for me. And there are so many cameras where the viewfinder window is just too small and it's hard to see the edges of the frame when you wear specs like I do. The battery is huge, 3050 mAh unit, But still the CPA rating is only about 400 shots per charge. However, some of the Lumix ambassadors that were there at the event, they said that they can easily get more than 1000 shots per charge. And that supports also my experience that the CPA ratings are quite conservative. You can of course charge and power the new cameras via USB, so for example long time lapses etc. would be no problem. There are several battery saving or power saving options in the camera that you can configure to your liking and make the battery last longer also that way. The image stabilizer is state-of-the-art for a full-frame camera, offering up to 6 stops benefit with a compatible image-stabilized lens. Panasonic made a point that they have more comprehensive sensors in the camera than other manufacturers, and that makes their image stabilizer superior to the others. Well, we just have to take their word for it, but nevertheless the image stabilizer seemed very effective. And I was able to get sharp images at 1 second exposure handheld using the 24-105 zoom lens at the longest 105mm focal length, and I think that's pretty good. But of course the effectiveness of any image stabilizer depends heavily on the photographer who's using the camera. The autofocus is still contrast detect only, based on Panasonic's DFD technology. But they have upgraded the sampling rate up to 480 frames per second, so in theory at least there should not be much lag. The autofocus has a special low light mode that engages automatically, and the camera can focus in -6 EV, which is almost totally black. I asked one of the Panasonic's representatives why are they still sticking to contrast detect only autofocus. And the answer I got was that they don't need to modify any pixels and they don't need any dedicated autofocus pixels on sensor, and that should relate to better image quality. During the hands-on session, I found that the autofocus was working really well. It was also really easy to configure the focusing mode and engage the face detection without diving deep into the menus. There is some artificial intelligence going on with the autofocus, and it can recognize humans and animals in the frame. It seems to work, and once you get used to all those squares and crosshairs in the viewfinder, it's pretty easy to control your focusing action. Also, the eye focus worked reliably. But of course, all this needs more testing, and I'll get back to this as soon as I get my review sample. I did not try the high-res mode, partly because we were told not to evaluate the image quality, and it's also not my top priority, even though it sounds very interesting. Some others in our group tested it and said it could really well suppress minor motion in the picture. Someone even claimed he successfully took a handheld high-res photo of one of the models. I can't verify that though, I never saw the image. This is one of those features that definitely needs my attention later. There are 3 Lumix lenses at the beginning. 2 zooms, 24-105 and 70-200, both have a maximum aperture of f4. And then there's also a 50mm 1.4. All the lenses are weather sealed, and you can take them wherever you take your camera body and shoot your heart's content. Especially the 50mm has raised some eyebrows because of its size, weight and price. It's actually larger than the 24-105 zoom lens, but it should be a top performer. Well, for 2,649 euros, it better be a top performer. The manufacturer's MTF curve for the 50mm is a pleasure to look at, and what I could tell from the camera's JPEGs, it looks like it could be one of the best 50mm available. I have to admit I developed a crush on the 50mm right away, and I really wish I have a chance to try it more in the future. The camera felt really balanced with all the lenses, and the trio makes a sensible kit that can cover most normal situations. Right now there are only those 3 Lumix lenses available, but there are more native lenses coming. Sigma has promised 14 lenses by the end of 2019, and Panasonic has promised more than 10 lenses by the end of 2020. And then of course there are 8 Leica SL lenses available right now, 3 zooms and 5 primes. But for affordable choices, we have to wait until Sigma brings out their lenses for the L mount. I think the new cameras make a lot of sense for Panasonic. Now they can offer a wide variety of tools for professionals as well as amateurs. It remains to be seen if Panasonic will offer an entry-level full-frame camera in the future. I personally think they are not going to do anything like that anytime soon. I also believe what they say about continuing to develop the Micro Four Thirds system. They have a great small system there, and it wouldn't make much sense to discontinue that. There are many distinctive advantages in the Micro Four Thirds, and one of those or 2 of those are the small size and weight. My first impressions on the new S1 and S1R cameras are positive, but as soon as I get my review sample, I'm gonna use the camera in my shooting situations and test it properly. It's impossible to review a camera in 3 hours, but it was really nice to get to try it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.